Like, I'm serious, we need to keep some of these because it really has elevated the design experience for a lot of people. People who aren't necessarily interior designers, who just want a beautiful home at the end of the day, which is the goal, right? What's up? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Jorge, and today I want to talk about interior design trends that I'm loving, trends that should really stay for various reasons. Now, like many of you, I love interior design trends. Some of them should really hit the curb. That's not today's video, because today I want to highlight ones that I think have been maybe performing well, have been successful for a lot of people, trends that I think look fantastic. Some might even be timeless. I mean, we'll be the judge of that. I got my fat list over here of trends. Hopefully I can get through it. Let's not waste any more time. Let's just get into the first one. Now, before I get into it, I want to mention that these are just my opinions, so you might agree with them, you might not, but at the end of the day, these are just some talking points, so no attacks here, right? All right, let's talk about branches. I have branches right here. I always have branches. I love branches. Basically, branches are amazing because they're so accessible and they can be affordable, especially if you are getting them from your backyard or going for a hike, going for a walk in the park. I'm not going to tell you to go take branches from public places, but it can be an affordable way as opposed to just like buying fresh florals. And again, you can get some huge ass branches that like take up your space, especially if you have like large ceilings. Put some big ass branches down there, put a whole tree, for crying out loud, and you really get like a nice big like I don't know, they have a sculptural quality of them. And if you're taking some fresh branches, it's a great way to incorporate the season that you're in. So if it's winter time and you have dry branches, I have dry branches in the summertime because I still like them, but it's a signal of winter, so you have dry branches inside. If it is springtime, you'll bring in branches that have sort of these beautiful like cherry blooms to them. All sorts of great things like that. So add branches into your space if you really want to bring in the season, but at the same time have that trendy, elegant interior that pretty much every designer is doing now. Vintage/antique home decor. I absolutely love this trend. Some might even say it's not a trend, but regardless, it's very popular these days. Some might credit this resurgence to designers like Joanna Gaines. Joanna Gaines, of course, has brought in wonderful antiques as vintage pieces into her more farmhouse style. So these pieces are a little bit more rustic. But then there's people like Athena Calderon. Athena Calderon has really embraced bringing in sort of more mid-century pieces in a very like minimal, elegant way. Both are amazing in their own fashion, and of course there are more designers out there, but these are just two that I can think of right now. But I love this trend for various reasons. First things first is that it can be in a very affordable way to decorate your house. Not everybody has a huge budget, and at thrift stores, at Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, all of these types of places, you can find amazing deals out there, pieces that are vintage, unique, even new items at a very affordable price. And this can go the other way around too, because you can go to places like Cherish, First Dibs, your local antique stores, and find pieces that are more expensive, maybe a little bit more antique or more rare. But again, this can go different directions, but again, it's the idea of incorporating these old pieces that really is special. Okay, the second reason I love this is that it's a great way to incorporate more unique pieces into your home. Now, of course, I love the big box stores and the latest, coolest items, but when you pair these older vintage pieces to these like newer items, they can create some really magical spaces. So you want to look at like transitional design styles, maybe some contemporary, all sorts of great things like that. The third reason I love this trend, and some people might disagree, but I think it's a great way to be more environmentally friendly with their home decor. It definitely is stopping, or at least delaying, a lot of pieces from ending up in the landfill. We're having an appreciation for these older pieces, and let's face it, a lot of older pieces are better quality. So you'll find candle holders that are actually solid brass, furniture that is actual solid wood as opposed to like paper veneer or things like that these days. So you can definitely find quality pieces that you're also being environmentally friendly, upcycle maybe some old furniture, things like that. But I can go on and on about this subject, but let's move on to the next one. The next trend that I think should stay is open shelving, and I'm referring to the one in the kitchen. Of course it can go everywhere, but I'm talking about just kitchen specifically. Now some people hate it, some people love it. And if you have open shelf kitchen, sound off in the comments. I would love to know your experience. Are you liking that situation or are you regretting it? But the reason I like this is because it's a nice way to add some interest to a kitchen as opposed to just having cabinets along the whole like wall. It's a great way to display maybe your little bit more cherished dishes, maybe a couple of nice like glassware, or maybe some decor, or maybe like, I don't know, all sorts of things that you can put on there. Some people dislike it because it can feel cluttered, especially if you already have like appliances on the counter or just all sorts of things. It can feel a little bit cluttered if that's something that you're not going for. Another reason is for sanitary reasons. Some people say like, oh my gosh, there's a whole bunch of dust that'll collect and you're going to be sneezing and collect germs and all sorts of things. But at the same time, it's like, well, if you're using them, you're going to be washing them frequently. So it can go either way. The thing I don't like is where there's just so much shelf, like you have a shelf here, shelf there, like just stacked shelving that's open, like it can feel cluttered. I just like that one shelf, maybe like on the wall of like the range hood. Some people do shelving with like wood, or you can just like run your backsplash, especially with like stone or marble backsplashes these days, and kind of just create like a little slim or thick slab that just makes a nice shelf. But again, this is not for everybody, so let me know if this is something you want to do or have done, or this is something you're staying clear away from. Let's talk about TikTok DIY decor. I'm seeing some awesome decor out there. I'm seeing sort of the styrofoam thing where they're adding around the mirrors and furniture and all sorts of great things like, I'm just kidding, no. I'm sorry, no. I can make a whole video on TikTok stuff, so I'm gonna say that for a future video. Let's move on to the next one. The next trend that I am loving and I think needs to stay is unlacquered brass or bronze. Now brass of course has made a comeback and it's been here for a while. We have, you know, brass hardware, brass light fixtures, brass this, brass that, brass everything. And I think one thing that I have been seeing, especially in like higher end interiors, is that they're using a lot of unlacquered brass. Some are actually even using bronze, but I never hear bronze used. I always just hear the word brass out there. But basically it's just these warmer metals that have this quality to them that again has like this vintage quality to them, that has like tarnished, and it just like weathers nicely with time. It definitely makes space feel a little bit more lived in. Now you can get light fixtures or hardware or whatever you want to incorporate it. You can get pieces that already have the antique look to them, but if you get actual brass that is unlacquered, it'll be shiny at first, but it will develop a patina that just looks beautiful the more you use it. So I think this trend definitely needs to stay. Of course it works well with a lot of interior design styles. Let me know what you think about it. Are you over the brass? Because I'm not. Ooh, I really like this one, and this one is non-white trim. So our trim, so like the baseboards around the doors, maybe the windows, that's typically white, or at least it is for me, probably most people. But one thing I've been seeing a lot, especially on Instagram by like decor influencers, is that they're painting their trim like an off-white or another color that complements their walls. So I mostly see this with like white painted walls or off-white painted walls. So you'll take that color and then you'll get a darker version of it that complements it. I think this is a great way of maybe making white rooms a little bit more interesting. Worst case scenario is you hate it and then you can just paint it back. So it's not that big of a deal. Such a small detail that I think can have a big impact on the space. I'm definitely hopping on board this trend, and maybe it's not a trend because it's been around for years and years and years. Some even trace it to like ancient Egypt or Greece, but it is basically LIMEWASH paint or Venetian plaster. Now they're a little bit different and I'll explain here in a moment, but basically what I'm getting at is sort of this visual texture that they both create on your walls, as opposed to just painting your walls. And a lot of people say that is environmentally friendly because it's basically you're not using any toxins or anything like that. So let me quickly explain the difference between the two. So LIMEWASH paint is crushed burnt limestone made into a putty, and then you add a little water, a little bit of color pigment to get sort of a custom color. I think it's great. It has been used sort of usually for painting like brick or lime washing brick. Lately there's been a lot of companies making LIMEWASH paint intended for like walls, so like dry walls and things like that. Really awesome way to add some texture, some dimension to your walls, because just painting dry walls, it can get a little bit boring. So this is definitely something that we're going to be seeing more of. Now with Venetian plaster, it's kind of similar to LIMEWASH paint, but basically it is lime plaster where they add in some marble dust. So basically think of it kind of like a plaster made out of marble. Definitely a little bit more expensive than just LIMEWASH paint, and it can be a little bit more tricky to apply. I definitely want to get my hands on Venetian plaster and try out that material, but you can get like a really high sheen effect to it. Like again, it's a little bit more rigorous, but I think it feels really nice. And both with the Venetian plaster and the LIMEWASH paint, I'm definitely seeing a lot of like earthy tones these days. So I'm not talking about like purple tones or like, you know, bold colors. I'm seeing those earthy tones that really complement the design styles that we have today. And this is definitely something that maybe you want to try out in a small space and see if that's something you like. I'm definitely trying this out in a future makeover that is coming out soon. Ooh, let's talk about the archway. So the arches have been around for a long time, for millennia. Now in contemporary times, I'm seeing this a lot in interiors, like at the end of a hallway, maybe a front door, even cabinetry, big ass windows. Some people are even painting their walls, like painting arches in their wall, which I don't know how I feel about that, but to each their own. Even furniture that is like arched, like has an arch to it. I think it's a great way to add some architectural interest to your space. Not for everybody, but let me know what you think about it. Is that something you're into? Do you have an arch in your house? An archway in your house? Let me know. This is a fat list and I'm always adding to it, so I'm gonna save the rest for a future video. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know which trends you are incorporating into your space, or other trends that maybe you feel like I should have added into this video. There's definitely lots of great ones out there that I feel like definitely should stick around, because they really are adding sort of value to most people, because there's trends out there that, you know, maybe I should make a video on that. But anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Hit that like button if you did. It'd really help out the channel. Subscribe for more videos like this. I'm gonna put a playlist of other videos that I've done, including a how to make your home look expensive video, where I'm really kind of just taking a step back and really thinking about large picture things about making our homes feel high-end, whatever that means. But again, thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you in my next video. Have a nice day. Bye.